Hello everybody and welcome back. We are here for another Trash to Treasure Tuesday, or Trashy Tuesday as Sophie calls it. So this is a challenge that Sophie and I have put together. Sophie is from Sophie's Crafty Corner. Obviously I'm hosting this in Non-Stop Papercrafts. And what we're doing is we've decided to create a junk journal, but just from junk. So no digitals or anything like that. We're using old papers, magazines, envelopes, that kind of a thing to create a journal, and then obviously decorating it with stamps and inks and things like that. So I have made this one to be a square. If you go and check out Sophie's channel and her videos, hers looks very, very different to mine, which is why I love challenges like this, because everybody has a different take on the idea and how they're going to execute it. So go and have a look at Sophie's as well. She's also done her video for today, so go and check that out. In this particular video we are looking at creating flips. So I have my journal already. So last week we worked on the closure and I had this little pocket put in where I thought I could store any pieces of small tear-offs that I could have, some scraps that I'm going to use in this, because this is going to become my art journal. So after today's video, the next few weeks are going to be of me doing some art journaling in here and showing how I'm actually going to use this book, because a question I get a lot actually in the Facebook group, not necessarily to me but just to people in general, lots of people do ask, well, how do we use these journals? So I am not a journaler. It's something that I am working on. I do want to do more journaling, but I just love making journals. That part for me is the therapy and the passion, actually creating the journals. But this year, I'm really determined to start using my journals, which is why I'm trying to work on my journaling practice. This one's going to be an art journal. And I do have another one which I'm actually starting to write in. So I'm trying to build up that habit. But this one, like I said, is going to be an art journal for me. So that's what the next few videos are going to be about. Now, if you missed the previous videos, we've just basically put this base together. I've decided to go for an accordion style journal. So you can open it both ways. Or you can just pull the whole thing out and you have just one great big long piece of paper. So this is the journal that I'm going to be working on. I liked this idea because no matter how I open the pages, they lay flat. So it's nice and easy when I am working. Even if I'm going the other way, they will lay pretty flat when I am working on them. So that's why I decided to go with this. And I went with a 6x6 square just because I thought, well, as I'm still relatively new to art journaling, I have been sort of tinkering a little bit. I thought this is a nice size canvas to be working on, rather than having a really large journal. So I really liked this size, so that's why I decided to go for that. So I've made this out of a paper bag and some packaging, as you know if you've already been watching. And I've gathered some bits and pieces today because we're going to be creating our flips. So I've got this page from a book that I really, really like. I do like dragonflies, and I thought the colours on him go quite nicely with the greens and stuff that have already been used in the book and from this pocket. I've got this bag, which I've already cut into because, again, that's what I've used for this pocket here on the front. So I've got the rest of that bag to be used. I've got some old ledger paper, and this is quite a tall paper, so I'm thinking this can be folded to create some kind of flip. And then my daughter had a sticker book and it had this circle cut out, and I thought, well, that might be quite fun to use as a base for a flip as well, because it kind of gives you a little preview to the next page as well. So I thought, again, it's quite sturdy, so this might be quite nice for a flip out. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 flip outs throughout mine, and I think the first one I'm going to start with is the one right at the back. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the book, and that's where I thought I would place this one that has the window on. Only because where this is quite sturdy, I wasn't sure that I wanted it necessarily in the middle of the journal. Or do I want it in the middle of the journal? I don't know. It could do. I don't suppose it really matters. I was thinking for stability, I wasn't sure because this is quite flexible and this is quite stiff. Would it feel out of place in the middle of the journal? But actually I'm thinking it might not. So yeah, actually let's just plop it in the middle, shall we? So I'm going to pop it here, I think. So I'm just going to move those pieces out of the way. So I'm just looking at where it folds, because obviously I don't want to butt it right up against where it's been scored, because obviously then I'm going to have trouble closing it, especially when, as I'm art journaling, this will bulk up a little bit. So I'm just going to move it ever so slightly away. I'm just going to lift it up just so I can see where I need to draw a line to cut this. So I'm going to cut about here, because again I don't want it over the edge this way too much either. I'm then going to bring it back down, and I'm going to want to have it about there. So let's grab my trimmer. Now when creating flips, there's a couple of things that you could do. So I'm actually just going to cut and cut, and I'm probably going to use either another piece of paper or a washi tape or something to create the flip. You could also, I mean, the only reason I'm not doing it is because this is quite thick, but you could create a kind of gusset on here, not a gusset, sorry, a tab, so that the tab folds over and sticks to the back. I'm not doing that because, like I said, this is quite thick, so that would make that top part quite bulky. So I'm just going to probably use some of this packaging paper to attach it. So the first thing we're going to do is just cut it down to size. Now obviously this might come in handy somewhere else, so I'm going to cut it along this way first. So I'm just going to bring it down so you can actually see what I'm doing. So placing that in there and just slicing up where that line is and doing the same then down here. Then as I say, I can keep what's left of this because this might come in handy somewhere else. So that is going to go on this page. So I've got some of this packaging paper left, and oh, look at that, that's literally perfect. So I'm just going to tear along that perforated line. And what I'm going to do is move that out the way a second. I'm just going to glue these two pieces together. It doesn't have to be, actually I'm going to tear it first. That would probably be the most sensible idea. Now these are two different sizes. This bottom one is longer than the top one. But that doesn't matter because, like I said, it's a hinge. You're not really going to see too much of it. And I'm not measuring, I'm just going to do the width of the ruler. That'll do. Oh, and I'm just going to try, she says. It's obviously not very terrible material. And I'm just going to tear a strip. Now I'm going to stick these two together. I'm just going to pop that one on there, roughly in the middle. That'll do. I'm then just going to form a fold. And then that's going to create my hinge on here. So I will actually have to trim it down a little bit. Right now, I'm probably going to cover this, so I'm not fussed. I've just got to figure out where we want the circle. So do we want it on that side? Do we want it over this side? No, I think I quite like it there. We'll go with it there. So I'm just going to pop some glue along the top. And then pop this down. And the nice thing about this glue is that you've got a couple of moments of wiggle room to get it where you want it to be, about there. And I'm just need to trim a tinsy bit off there. That's obviously where it just wasn't tearing properly. And then we can glue this bit down. The nice thing about this is I can then have a play around with what I want to do with this window. I could use some vellum, I could use some acetate, whatever I kind of fancy when I come to decorate. And then that's just going to go on the page there like so. Right, so that's one flip. Let's maybe do one on this side. So this one's quite bendy, so that's going to actually just need some support with a flip. So I'm thinking I want to use this ledger. So it's only going to be a small flip because I'm just going to fold it over like that. So it's just going to be a small flip, but it just obviously makes the page a little bit longer. But it also then adds some strength here just by gluing this down onto the page. I mean, I know obviously this isn't like super thick paper. Right, so do I want it coming out that way? So what I'm thinking is obviously, like I said, this is going to be an art journal. I'm just going to put the lid on my glue so that doesn't dry out. Because this is going to be an art journal. If I have it that way and the flip comes out, when I'm art journaling, obviously that then dips and becomes bumpy where my pocket is. Whereas if I have it this way and it flips out there, it's then going to just lean on these pages. So I'm thinking I kind of want the flip to go that way. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to lift this up and, as I say, loosely measure how tall it needs to be. So about there. And I'm going to tear this. And again, I want this just inside the crease, because obviously if I start adding things to this and it bulks up, I don't want that interfering with that fold. So I'm just going to stick that down, and then we've got a little flip there that we can attach things to, obviously when we actually come to the art journaling part. But where I've got that middle crease, it just adds that stability to that as well. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone, actually. I'm going to use a bigger glue because we're going to be here forever if I've got to use that little one. But yeah, if you haven't already, go and check out Sophie's video. Her videos have been released a little bit earlier in the day than mine usually do. We are in different time zones though. But yeah, her video should be out by now, because it's normally, like I say, out before mine with the time differences. Yeah, so that flips out that way. So we've got another little flip there, and I've got this which I can use somewhere else. Right, we also had, and I do really like this, so I think I might have this on the front. Right, how do I want this flipping though? I'm thinking I might have it flipping that way and also then flipping down, so I'm kind of getting two flips in one. So I'm going to lift this up and fold it about there. And then I'm going to have to move this over. Oh, actually no, because I can do it around, because where this is the end, I can do it around the edge of the page. So where's that gone? So I can use this. Just pull that bit off. So again, I'm going to glue these two pieces together after I've just torn them. Again, I'm going to go about a ruler's width. Doesn't matter if it's not exact. Again, I can use these strips for something else. Let's glue these two. But yeah, I must admit, I'm really looking forward to the art journaling part. So I'm looking forward to next week. I mean, building a journal is always fun, but I think because I'm actually going to be using this journal, it kind of makes it a little bit more exciting, because historically I haven't really, I mean, I have created journals and I've done the odd note or doodle or something in them, but I haven't properly used them. So it does make it that little bit more exciting when you know it's actually going to have a function and a purpose. So yeah, I am quite excited for that. Right, so that's that. So one of these is going to get stuck on this edge. Don't know why I bother putting the lid on that. Oh, right, let's tuck that under there. Lovely. Just give that a push down. And then that is going to wrap around the edge of here. So let's move that over. Oh, let's move that over. Oh, and that pencil. Everything's kind of rolling this way. And that's going to go over there. Okay, so we've got a flip here. This also flips down, so we've got that page. Then we had this one where it flips up. Then we've got nothing down the back, but that's fine. Then we've got this one which flips outwards, just a smaller one. This one could do with some stability as well, and so can this one. So let's go for this one first. And I think I'm going to use some of this. Right, which way do we want it flipping? Now, because we're coming to the end of the book here, I don't mind this one either flipping up or down, because it's then flat and it is quite smooth, obviously, with the base of the book, if that makes sense. It's almost as flat as the table because we're at the end of the book. So with that in mind, I might do 2 flips with this one. Oh, I've got a receipt stuck to this. Let's take you off. And I'm just going to open that out. Carefully try and peel these bits off, or even if it's just that first layer, I don't care about the second one. Oh, I just want to be able to get those handles out. That's it. Right, okay, so let's have a look, see. Right, I'm going to cut up this section. And I'm using the folds as a guide, similar to last week, just because that beats me having to measure and rule stuff out to check I'm even. So I'm just going to again use the fold line on this side. I mean, even folding following the fold line, I'm not particularly straight. that's okay. Right, so that's that side, and I'm going to do the same on this side here. Right, so they were the two kind of sides, and I'm thinking I'm going to have one flipping up and then one flipping down. So I'll have this one flipping, actually I'm going to have this one flipping down only because where I've got that staple bit, I'm actually going to tear along there, so we get rid of that. So let's tear there. Which means I then want to fold it about there. Okay, so that's going to be folded up like so. And then, well, you can see obviously I had wonky cutting, didn't I? I remember that now. So what I might do, no, actually I won't do that. I'm just going to, kind of feel like I want to reinforce this, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to use one of these and just stick that down. And that will hopefully just stop that from bending, because I didn't fold these in, because this is perforated in certain places, and I didn't fold it along the perforated edges, because that would have made my book too wide. But it now means that some of the pages, like this one, has a perforated edge within the page, which isn't too much of a problem, because when we actually come to art journaling, then I can reinforce them. But obviously, because I'm putting a flip on here, that's going to be a little bit trickier to do, so I need to reinforce it now. Right, there we go. So, where were we? This one's going to be flipping down, so obviously I don't need all of that to create a hinge. I'm just going for roughly the middle of the page, sticking that down. That's then going to fold down. Okay, I'm then going to have this one, and I'm going to have this one folding up. So we're going to need some of this off because it's far too long. So about there. And then we need to fold over the top a little bit as well. And again, my fabulous wonky cutting. So I'm just going to line it up. So that's going to go up, that's going to come down. We've got a space in here that we can do something with, plus we've obviously got what's on these flaps as well. So that's that one. So how many is that now? 1, 2, 3, and then we've got 4 there. So I think that will do for now. I really like those. I think it always just adds a bit of interest when you have some interaction in a journal. And like I said, it just also then gives you more space to work on as well and art journal on. So I'm really happy with those. I think they all work really well for this particular book. And yeah, I think it's nice having different sized flaps as well, because it means you can do different things with them. As I said, this one's easier having a kind of top and bottom lift because it's closer to the bottom of the book. And we've got one that's a little bit stiffer as well, so that adds some structure to the book as well. So we've got this one, although yes, it does lift up, it just holds some structure, and we get a little peekaboo window as well, which I really like. So they're all of my flips and flaps for this particular journal. As I said, this is probably the last video where we're now constructing things. After this, Sophie and I will be now decorating and doing some art journaling. We're probably going to spend some of next week just prepping the pages, getting them ready, and making a start on some art journaling. We really hope that you are enjoying this particular series. We know some people have been dead excited and have been following along and making their own versions of their junkie style journal. It is a great way to use up some of your stash, some of your trash, some of your old documents and envelopes and things like that. And as I say, I'm particularly looking forward to the art journaling, which I know a few other people that are taking part are also looking forward to as well. Thank you so much for watching me today. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, I would really love for you to do so. Please also make sure that you click that bell button, then you are notified of any new videos coming out. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.